Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I present to you Natsu and Lisanna butt-ass naked. Very classy beginning to a chapter. I definitely gotta say one thing that the beginning of this chapter brought forth is, well, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I'm hoping that Hiro learned his lesson of having Natsu coming in with both arms swinging and defeating every single person and winning every battle, because based on the beginning of this chapter, you know, there's a clear indication he lost, he got captured and thrown in a cell. From Hiro's track record as of late, I really wasn't expecting it to go down that way, so for me, I was already happy starting that off, where it's like, okay, wow, Natsu actually was defeated, Silver went in and did what needed to be done, and he was captured. Natsu was, chained up. So right there, that's a clear indication that so far, we're in the good zone, we're in the safe zone, things is going good, and that was some good shit right there, because I was really like, oh man, it looks like Natsu's already going to rescue them, and that's it, this is how it's going to go. I was interested to see, though, Natsu and Lisanna butt-ass naked together in a cell, and not because they're butt-ass naked, because, well, that's the fan service thing involved, which, by the way, nobody want to fucking see Natsu. Lisanna, right, cool, whatever, but nobody want to see dudes. I'm just saying, maybe the females, if y'all like that shit, that's cool. I personally didn't want to see that. But I was just interested in the fact that we haven't had that Natsu X Lisanna in years. It's been ages. I thought Hiro completely forgot about it. And while he didn't necessarily really poke at it, it was mostly just them being together. They didn't really like talk in any which way of like, oh yeah, I like you or anything like that. We did get like just to see them together again. It's just interesting. I would like to see a little bit more of this and see a little bit more of maybe some of that relationship, because at the end of the day, that's a part of the series, that's a part of, some of the characters and the relationships, and I would just like to see that brought back. It's been a while of having Natsu X Lucy, and while, that seems to be what was the main pairing for the longest time, like that's eventually going to happen maybe at the end of the series or something, throwing in Lisanna and bringing back some of those old emotions and everything would definitely be a little interesting of a love triangle in there. Just throwing it in there, of course, that's not the most important thing, but I would like to see that kind of be brought back to light, because that was a pretty important part in the beginning. That was one of the things that Natsu had in the back of his mind. I would like to see that brought forth once again, and now's the perfect time to do it. Butt-ass naked. We also got a little bit more into Sayla's character. First of all, apparently she's a lesbian with Kyouka, because it was kind of hinted that they pretty much have this little pairing going on. So we have some canon Yuri action fairy tale. Hiro is making sure he covers every base. You want your Loli, you got Wendy. You want your big ass titties, you got Lucy, Airs, and pretty much every bitch in fairy tale. You want your Yuri, now you have two demons, Kyouka and Sayla. There you go. But definitely getting into Sayla's character, to find out that it seems as though she's not as evil as the other demons, because she basically said, oh, so that means we won't have any more useless killings, which kind of makes me think, okay, so she's not really into death and, like, killing people for no good reason. Good stuff there, getting a little bit more of her character, but at the same time, it also makes me wonder, if you're truly a demon, then why wouldn't you want death? I guess it's breaking the mold. And then Jellal versus the Oracion Seis. It's good in a sense that Jellal isn't completely thrashing them, and it almost seems as though, like, is this really Hiro writing this? Because it's almost taking a polar opposite to what he normally does. First, Natsu in the beginning of this chapter, he seemingly, lost completely to Silver and gets captured, and then from what seems as though Jellal was just completely owning them, in this chapter, it's kind of like they're fighting for their lives. And the way Jellal is kind of approaching it, it definitely seems as though he wants to defeat them so that they completely respect him and him alone. That's why he keeps on telling Melody to kind of like, stay back, you're not involved, I need to do this on my own. I think the only way he feels as though he can gain their respect and trust and feel as though he can liberate them from the darkness is to do this on his own. A little bit annoyed to see Brain or Zero, whatever you want to call him, seem as though he's getting back up. It's like, dude, stay down, stay dead, we don't need you. I personally am like, I was happy the way it was kind of solved, where Cobra just kind of fucked them up and that was the end of it. To bring him back is like, we don't need him back in the fold. He's already got his ass kicked in the Oracion Seis arc. He already got owned by Cobra. Like, why bring him back? Just stay fucking down. Don't bring him back into the fold, because he's just gonna mess everything up. But I guess that could also play a part in kind of, Jellal reforming them and liberating them from the darkness. Possibly when he gets up again, he'll show just how darkness can really make a person feel bad and something, and it'll be a struggle between Brain and Zero, and them witnessing it might change them. By the way, I'm still not a big fan of Brain and Zero getting back up. It's like, fuck out of here, bro. I think it's a little bit intriguing how the Tartarus headquarters is kind of like this moving object. To me, personally, it's going to be a little bit of a bullshit if, like, Levy can pinpoint a location of something that's actually moving. It's like, first of all, you don't really have any specifics, because basically it was just happy saying, yeah, it was this big block thing and it was moving. It's like, how are you possibly going to get coordinates by that, like, piece of information? That's like me saying, oh yeah, man, go to the field. And you're like, what field? I'm like, the field out there. It's like, Yeah, what the fuck does that, like, how are you gonna find that? And also Happy being a little prick, not giving all the information, is like, oh, never mind, like, you could have probably dropped a little hint there that silver smelt like gray, and maybe it would have started an investigation. And, I mean, you got Makarov there, he's an old man, he might know something. And then the little cliffhanger at the end with Elfman returning to the guild, seemingly possessed. First of all, Makarov will fuck your shit up, bro, so don't even try it. But he also seemed as though, I couldn't tell if that was just part of the drawing, like a bubble flying by or something, but it seemed as though he had, like, a hole, like a white hole in his heart or something, like there was a hole right there. So I'm curious as to, is that what's possessing him, what Sayla used to possess him? Is that like that he completely, you know, sold his soul, so to speak? I'd imagine he's eventually going to get back and everything's going to be all good. I don't foresee Elfman staying in the darkness forever, but I do foresee an ass whipping in his future, especially if he tries to fuck with Makarov. You don't fuck with him or his kids. Overall chapter, it was a good one, not as interesting as last week's, but it was still giving a little bit more foreshadowing as to what's to come regarding Jellal versus the Oracion Seis, as well as getting a little bit more into the characters Sayla and Kyouka. It seems as though Sayla is a little more lighthearted compared to the other Tartarus members, and Kyouka is just like a fucking devil. She doesn't give a fuck. She wants everyone butt-ass naked. At this point, the naked fan service is just like, I don't want to see dudes naked. I'm sorry. Just get that shit out of here. And also, it was good to see that Natsu finally didn't just completely obliterate his enemies. He actually got, you know, he took an L for once after a long-ass time of not taking an L. I think last time he lost, like, officially, fully, was against Guild Arts. Like, Guild Arts had to pwn his ass. So, that shows that Hiro was learning, like, yo, I can't keep on having this dude beat every single person in his path. But definitely don't care, and I think it's a bad move in a way to bring back Brain and Zero. He's already been defeated twice, especially when Cobra took him out. I felt as though that kind of gave Cobra a bit of an advancement in front of the eyes of the other Oracion. So it's like, yo, we need to follow him. And then if anything, when Jellal would have defeated them, they would have been like, well, you know, we're going to listen to Cobra, but bringing back Brain and Zero, I don't see how that's really going to add to anything. I thought that, if anything, him being defeated was an advancement towards them. But as a whole, still a good chapter. I'm looking forward to seeing where some of this stuff is going to go. I'm going to give this one 7 out of 10. Hopefully we put some fucking clothes on some of these people in the beginning of the chapter, because I don't want to see that. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Thumbs up if you can't wait to see what's going to fucking happen with Tartarus, because they're starting to look like a threat again. It's like a little skeptical there when Natsu was kicking some ass, but with him being fucked up and captured, it's like, yeah, we need to see more of that type of shit. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.